Joe Biden reportedly waived sanctions following the Democrats' election losses last month that gave the Islamic Republic of Iran, mind you, the world's leading sponsor of terrorism, access to billions of dollars of frozen assets. Now, if you recall, I'm going to take you back to, back in time a little bit here with John Kirby, Karine Jean-Pierre, Joe Biden. Joe Biden took money from South Korea, I believe it was, upwards of $10 billion in humanitarian aid, and wanted to give it to the Iranian people. And they were calling it humanitarian aid. And the conversation was with John Kirby on the podium during the White House press briefing going, hey, why are you going to give the Iranians $10 billion when they're the leading sponsor of terrorism? Couldn't they just now spend $10 billion on terrorism because you just shored up a bunch of funds for them that they would have maybe spent somewhere else? And John Kirby goes, I'm not even kidding. He goes, no. They're actually not spending money on their people at all. And so that's why they need it. And they're not going to have extra money to sit there and spend on terrorism. And I kid you not, there was people just kind of looking around in the White House press brief room going, what are you talking about? If you even have any money budgeted to some sort of category, it doesn't matter what it is, and that you now have that money shored up or free because somebody else is giving you a bunch of other money for whatever purposes, doesn't matter what it is. Well, couldn't you now fund whatever thing it is that you want to fund and that you're most, love to do? I guess we'll keep it as that. It's insane. So it's fungible money. So what they did was they froze it. And they moved it from South Korea to Qatar. And their reasoning, well, because we wanted to make it more accessible. Let that one sink in. So now they've been saying it's frozen. And you had Jake Sullivan, who's also part of the Biden administration, then come out during the White House press briefing many, many, many months ago and go, oh, no, they haven't touched a penny of it. And I've always been great, but can we get the money back then? Like if it's frozen and they're not going to have access to touch it. I say this, I know I'm kicking a dead horse here. Can we give it to our veterans? Can we give it to people sleeping on the streets? Can we maybe build facilities, shelters where these people that clearly have, unfortunately, mental problems, that they can go seek help? Maybe things like that. So the Free Beacon obtained a copy here, I can't believe it, of the non-public order transmitted to Congress from the State Department that claimed it was in the national security interest of the United States to allow Iran to access $110 billion that had been frozen. The Biden State Department tweaked the waiver last year to allow Tehran to convert the funds from Iraqi, there you go, dineros to euros, then hold these euros in bank accounts based in Oman. Access to a widely traded currency like the euro enables Iran to more easily spend the cash in international markets. Because we were told by John Kirby that the United States was going to sit there and handle the vendors. So let's say I want to give you money and I'm going to control how that money is going to be spent. You would have to come to me and say, Brad, I want to go ahead and spend $100 on office supplies. Perfect. I'm going to pick who you're going to buy office supplies from. I'm going to pick Staples. That's how it's supposed to work, allegedly, according to John Kirby. That's not what it sounds like here, folks. No. Under the first Trump administration, Iran had to keep the cash in an escrow account in Baghdad, making it more difficult to access, meaning that they couldn't just willy-nilly do whatever they want. Now, could the Biden administration had still done what the Trump administration did? Yes. But look, I'll be fair. I wasn't exactly stoked that Donald Trump did this either. I'm tired of giving other countries all our money when we're $36 trillion in debt. I don't get that. Like, just imagine put yourself in that scenario where you don't have any money. You're putting everything on credit, which is what we're doing as a nation. And you're just driving yourself deeper in debt. And then there's some dude down the street that's asking you for money, but they keep sitting there, talking crap, vandalizing your car, vandalizing other people's car around the neighborhood and other neighborhoods. and they're asking you for money, would you be willing to give them money when you don't have it and they're pulling all that crap? The reason why I mentioned the analogy of, destroying vehicles is because the Iranians are blowing up our merchant vessels and sinking them to the bottom of the ocean. We've seen, Patriots, at least 4 videos of this. I think there's something going on here, obviously more nefarious. It's not, no, this whole national security interest, it's in our best interest, really. Why? What are the Iranians going to do? We wiped out the Iraqis in 2 weeks in the Gulf War. I want to put this in perspective. Back then, during the Gulf War, Iraq had the 3rd largest military in the world. I don't think the Iranians are going to do much. Now, they could, but we got a pretty big force here. I think what's happening, and I've always said this, I think Biden is so corrupt that he has money everywhere stashed away. And I think the Chinese, the Ukrainians, and the Iranians know all about it. And I think they have so much dirt on this guy that he's basically a puppet for all these people that don't like us. Because I can't think, can anybody here, there's hundreds of people watching, can anybody tell me in the comment section or the live chat, on a hand of God, a rational, like a real reason why you would give $10 billion to a government, granted it's going to the people, but to a people that has a government that's a leading sponsor of terrorism? Because I can't think of an actual good one. However, money is fungible. Thank you. Meaning it can be easily moved around, hidden, and used for different purposes. Hey, what could maybe some of those different purposes be, Patriots? Could it maybe be for terrorism? Many have raised concerns about the administration waiving sanctions against the regime after it's funded the majority of terrorism in the Middle East for years. So by Joe doing this, by basically proxy, he is funding terrorism. That's what Joe is doing. And I've said it time and time again. It's astonishing what this guy has done in the criminal network on the globe, on the planet. Joe has created the most jobs, you guys, more than Trump. It's just creating criminal type of jobs. What I mean by that is sex trafficking, human trafficking, drug trafficking, illegal immigrants, smuggling, those types of things, terrorism. This guy's done more for terrorism than anybody I could think of in recent memory. This guy's sitting there allowing the Iranians to do whatever they want. That money's being funneled all over the place. We all know it. Somebody, I forgot the congressman or congresswoman who said it. There was somebody that mentioned this. And the industrial war complex, however you want to phrase it, is just sending our money all whichever direction. And it's all being laundered. All that money that's being sent to Ukraine is just being laundered. I've told you guys, they're driving nice cars over there. You guys please don't think like Ukraine is a war-torn country. They're going clubbing. They're going out at night. You're funding their education. You're funding their defense. You're doing all of you are paying for this. I just want to make this clear here because I don't think some people are really realizing this, that you're paying for illegal immigrants. You're paying for other nations' defense systems across the globe. You're paying for a lot of the Ukraine war. You're paying now for terrorism. I mean, what the hell is going on? I sound like Jerry Seinfeld. What's happening? It's unbelievable. I can't believe it. So Iran's president, who died in May, said in an interview last year that Iran would spend the money however it wanted to. And I remember quoting that because then John Kirby and Jake Sullivan were both asked the question, well, then why did he say that? And they didn't really have a good reason, right? They just kind of pulled something out of their you-know-what. What is your expectation of its money use? Asked NBC News. We're told that it was for humanitarian purposes. That's what we were all told, like food and medicine, right? Which is what the government, their own government should be helping them do, not necessarily us. Do you believe you have the right to use that money in any way that you see fit? This money belongs to the Islamic Republic of Iran, and naturally, we decide, the Iranians said, we'll decide to spend it wherever we need it. How to spend our money, of course, it is under the authority of the Islamic Republic of Iran. You gotta love how it's our money now. No, it's not. It's not. So he said, here's the exact moment he said it. Says they'll use the $6 billion from the Biden administration wherever we need it. as determined by the Iranian government, which contradicts what Joey said. So the money is unfrozen, you guys. So after that whole long year and all those White House press briefings, not one, not two, not five, multiple, well, now it's unfrozen after being told for a year that it was frozen. They couldn't touch it. And then they just secretly unfreeze it. You got to love that, right? No announcement about it. No, just out there under the rug, typical administration. I always like to call this out. Remember, at the beginning of the Biden administration, they came out and said that they were going to be the most transparent administration that's ever existed in the history of this country. As far as I'm concerned, from what I can see in at least the last 3.5, 4 years, they have been far from that. I mean, the amount of lies that have come out of just Karine Jean-Pierre alone, that doesn't even include their predecessor, Jen Psaki, the former White House press secretary that's now with MSNBC, or DNC rather. They're not transparent whatsoever.